This is 8.4, section 8.4, rational expressions, part 2. This part we're going to talk about multiplying rational expressions. And you're going to notice that, again, it's not a lot different from what you were doing in terms of simplifying. Essentially, we've just added a couple of expressions with it. We're going to combine some things and then simplify. So first step here, we're going to factor all and any expressions. That's the exact same thing as what we had before. Got to factor everything first. Okay. Secondly, once you factor everything, again, you're going to state the domain. We talked about that in class today as well a little bit more. Okay, whatever's in the denominator, whatever parts are in the denominator, we have to set not equal to 0 and solve for the domain. Then we're going to simplify everything that we have on top and the bottom that is the same. Okay, so anytime we have the same thing on the bottom and on the top, it's going to cancel out with each other. And then we're going to put everything together, or we're going to multiply our expressions and put everything together. Okay? So, let's take a look now at the first example. So, first thing we're going to do here, example number 3, we're going to factor everything. So, again, when I factor everything, I'm going to kind of shortcut this a little bit. Factors of -6 that add to +1 are +3 and -2. So, this is x plus 3, x minus 2, over the x minus 5, can't be factored, so it's going to stay the same, times x squared minus 25. If I factor that out, it's going to give me x plus 5 and x minus 5 on the top. And on the bottom, if I factor out x squared plus 4x plus 3, that's going to give me an x plus 3 and an x plus 1. Okay. Now again, I'm doing the shortcuts here on these just so I can save some time. You guys know how to factor those. You know, find factors of 3 that add to 4 would be 3 and 1. Put them in the middle term, so forth and so on. Okay. All right. Now, next thing I want to do here is I want to state my domain. Again, I'm going to take all the parts of the denominator. This part right here, this part right here, and this part right here, and I've got to set them not equal to 0. Essentially, what it is, guys, is that it's the opposite of whatever that number is. So in this case, x cannot be, in this first one right here, x will not be 5. The opposite of -5 is 5. The opposite of +3 is -3, and the opposite of +1 is -1. So x cannot be those values because, again, those values make the denominator 0, as we talked before. Okay? So once I've stated my domain, now I can start canceling things. Again, you want to state the domain before you cancel, because certain things in the denominator are going to cancel. And if you do it after that, you're going to forget it. Okay? So I go to cancel now. I cancel out. I want to find things that are exactly the same. So I've got an x minus 5 on the bottom here with an x minus 5 on the top. And it doesn't matter if they're in the same fraction or not. I have an x plus 3 down here and an x plus 3 up top. Okay. Other than that, that's all I have that's the same on the top and the bottom. So my answer here is going to be x minus 2 times x plus 5 all over x plus 1. That's it. You're done. You don't have to FOIL them. You don't have to multiply them back. Okay. Once you've crossed out everything that's the same on top and bottom, then you're simplified. Okay. All right. So that's example number 3. Let's take a look here now at example number 4. Again, got to factor everything first. So in that first set, I've got a 2 that can come out, and I'm left with an x minus 4. On the bottom, I've got x squared minus 16, which is going to be an x plus 4 and an x minus 4, times, factors of 4 that add to 5 are 4 and 1. So I've got an x plus 4 and an x plus 1, over factors of 16 that add to 8, which are x plus 4 and x plus 4. Okay, again, now that I've factored everything out, got to write down my domain. X cannot be. Again, if I look here at this one, in this case, x cannot be -4. In this case, it's going to be +4. And in these two cases here, they're both going to be -4, but again, I already have the -4 written down. I don't have to write it down multiple times. You just have to write it down once. So in this case, x cannot be -4 and +4. That's my domain. Okay. Now that I have my domain, I'm going to look at canceling things out that are the same on the top and on the bottom. So again, I have an x minus 4 on the bottom. I have an x minus 4 on the top. I have an x plus 4 on the bottom. I have an x plus 4 on the top. Now, does it matter which one of the bottom ones I use to cancel it with the top? No, it doesn't. Okay. So as I look now, I don't have anything else that can cancel top and bottom that's the same. So on the top, I'm going to combine all these together. So I have a 2 and an x plus 1 on the top. And on the bottom, I have an x plus 4 left over and another x plus 4 left over. Okay. So I've accounted for everything. Nothing else can cancel. And that's my final answer. Okay. So in this part 2, we talked about how to simplify rational expressions with multiplication. Okay. Don't forget to watch the third part of the notes, which is going to be division. This concludes part 2.